This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So we're going to look at a pile of stocks here today. We're going to take a look here at Microsoft and Meta. The earnings now here are after the close today, same way with Qualcomm. And we're going to also take a look here at Netflix, and then my favorite trade, TQQQ, which is the leverage fund there for the old NASDAQ. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy selling stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, first on the docket here, we have old Microsoft. Daily chart all stretched out nicely here for you, okay? So what do we got going here? Okay, so what we're really watching is basically the top of this candle right here, okay? See what we have is 396.36, okay? So we got, yesterday we got as high as 395. Now, is that going to be a double top situation, okay, that we could break through, or is that going to be it, and then she comes right on down, okay? So again, if we can break above this key level, this is that 396.36, then we're going to go and just take a look here. We'll take a look at next level is going to be 398.82. And then we're going to bring this price channel here right across. We're going to take a look at that, and you're looking at 402.15. Then we bring this price channel across. I'm going to take a look right there. You're looking at 405.74. Then we're going to start running into some strong resistance here at that 407.66. There's your 100-day, 414.37. There's your 200 SMA here. Okay, so that's what we have there on the upside. Now, on the downside, you can see here where we came down, went below that 50-day today, but you notice that has popped right back up here. So this is going to be key support level. Is going to be this 386.18. Okay, so you need to hold that, and then right below that is going to be 381.87. That's your 8-day, and then we have your 21-day at 378. Now, again, say the earnings stink it up and they're going to lose it. Then we have this gap. Okay, you know how I say about gaps. Okay, so you look at this gap, 373.02, there's your gap. And then we looked at the top of this candle right here at 367.77. Okay, so your gap, again, is 373.02. And then your fill is 367.77. There's your gap, your fill. And then we look to the bottom of that candle, you're looking at 359.86. We'll come to the bottom here, you're looking at 355.67. We'll come to the bottom, you're looking at 353.10, and then we have your big retest down here at 344.79 level, okay? So always watch them gaps in the film. It might not, this might blast right on through here. But first of all, make sure that right there, that's going to be key level. It's going to be that 50-day, okay, that 8-day, that 21-day. Then we're going to be looking for that gap in that fill. The upside, this is what we're watching right here, okay? Is at 396.36, okay? That's gonna, then we can go right to that next price channel and work yourself all the way up until we hit the 100-day at 407.66 and at 414.37. So we got to see what they say here on the earnings. So let's just take a look at like the past earnings, okay? So here was the one of the past earnings. They sold right on off and then it rallied up nicely, okay? So what do we have here? Okay, what do we have? It gapped down and then rallied up after that, okay? So here we had another earnings here. What did it do? It gapped down again. So the odds of this gapping down could be very, very good because we had two gaps here in a row. So always pay attention to what happened in the previous earnings kind of a situation. But right now, what you always want to watch is watch that 50-day, that 8-day, 21-day on the downside, the gap in the fill. And again, on the upside, right there, that's going to be very key, that 396.36. You have to close above it. We follow the candles until we hit maybe even at 407 or that 414 level. Now you can see here we got to the oversold condition. Now we're sitting here at 54. That could go either way. Your green is over your red, shows momentum to the upside. There's no divergences here, but this is actually looking really not too bad. But you got strong resistance right there, and if it can't break above, then she's going to go down. But look at the previous times. That's going to be key. Okay, so now let's take a look here at Meta. Okay, here we have Meta. Now let's just look at their previous numbers, okay? So here we had the earnings, okay? Then you can see here what gapped up, came on down, and then she just had a really nice, good rally right on up here, okay? So this is the same thing, kind of a situation, and kind of a sideways action, and then rallied up. And then here's the last earnings that we had, and rallied and just kept right on rolling up very, very nicely. So we got to see what this is all going to do. Now, when we look at this Meta chart, you can see a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower. This is a downtrending chart going on right here, okay? So just remember that. Now, you have to really get above this 200-day and that 50-day to kind of reverse all that, but right now it's downtrending. So let's just look at the bottom. You can see here today, it went down below that 21-day, but that 8-day held it up very, very nicely, okay? So on your support level, you're looking at that 533.13, that 21-day. Very, very important, okay? And then your next level is going to be that 8-day. Okay, you're looking at 528.82. Then again, we have this gap, okay? So you're looking at the bottom of this candle, you're looking at 516, 552, and then there's your gap, and then we're looking at 506.88. Your gap, your fill, then we have your retest down here at 479 level. But right here, the 8-day is rolling up nicely. Let's see if we can crack above that 21-day and send it higher. Now, on the upside, you can see here we have this resistance level coming on right here. So you look at the top of that candle, 558.49, and then we'll look at the top of this candle right here, 557. So right here, this 558 level is going to be very, very strong. Okay, so if you get above that, then your next level target upside is going to be 578.67 there, and then we're going to have that nice right here, that 50-day at 587.93, and then we can come all the way up to 614.79. So we got to see what the earnings are going to be doing here. That's going to be very, very key. Now you can see here you have a positive divergence here. Okay, so we had this oversold condition, put it in low. We put on a lower low here, but we put a higher low here. See this positive divergence kind of situation, and that gave you a nice good run right on up here. But you can see how strong this 21-day is holding this, but it's in a descending situation going on here. Now, your green is over your red. That's still looking very, very good. So let's just see what the earnings are. But so right now, we're holding that 21-day and we're holding that 8-day. That's always very, very positive. But just watch the top of this candle here. That's going to be key, that 558 level. If we can crack above it, then we got a nice shot here at that 578 and possibly that 50-day at 587 level. Okay, so we got to see what the earnings are and what it's all going to bring out. Okay, let's take a look here now at Qualcomm. Okay, here we have Qualcomm, the daily chart. And I can see it's just pretty much a sideways action. And usually what that does is it builds energy and it's going to break one way or the other. And this one actually broke to the downside. Okay, so now we have that oversold condition. Now there's no divergence or anything going on here, but we're still only sitting at 52. That could go up much higher. Green is over your red. That's still looking very good. Now you can see here on the Qualcomm here, the 8-day crossed over that 21-day. That's always very, very good. Now we're sitting here, this sideways action. So realistically, what we're watching on the upside is going to be that 50-day. That's 150.84. That's what we're looking for. And then we're going to look here for this 100 SMA here. Okay, you're looking at 157.19. And then we have that 163.36, which is your 200 SMA here. And obviously, if you can get above that, then we're going to come right up to the top of this level right here. We're going to look at that candle at that 176.79 level. Okay, but that's just a ways off, but I like to show you where it could possibly go. Okay, so on the downside here, this 8-day is going to be everything. Okay, you want to hold that 144.06. That's going to be key. And then we want to watch that 140.39 level. Okay, that's going to be key. And if that's lost here, we just follow these candles all the way on down. But we're looking for the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 131.79. And then we can come all the way down to that 120 level. Okay, but really just watch that 8-day. Now we have that cross. That's always a bullish cross when it crosses that 21-day. As long as we can hold that 8-day, we can push it back up here. But right now you're trading that 8-day, 21-day on the bottom, that 50-day on the top. If it gets above that, you got the 100-day, 200-day, all that resistance. Now, let's look at their earnings. So here was the last time you had the earnings, and it rallied up here nicely. Now, this earnings, it came, and then it just kind of like a sideways action. Same way with this. It's really just kind of like a flat ski, okay? So it really isn't doing a whole lot. So we've got to see what the all earnings are. But again, watch the 8-day, 21-day on the downside. Very, very critical on a closing basis. If we can get above that 50-day, then we got a good shot at the 100-day and possibly that 200 SMA here. Okay, let's take a look here now at Netflix. Okay, here we have Netflix. Now, again, this is a really, really good stock. Now, tariffs, anything like that, it's not going to, and Netflix doesn't care about now that. This is all digital. This is going to be no issue there for them, okay? Plus, remember, they got the football going on. They got wrestling. They're going to get into the sports package. You know, they're really doing really, really fantastic. So, again, if we can crack that 111.27.81 area, you will work yourself up to that 1200 area, okay? So if you put a trend line going all the way across there and you take that trend line going right on up here, you will hit that 1200 area. That's going to be the target. Now, I wish your stock would just split, you know, like a 5-for-1 or something like that, 10-for-1. That would be really great. Get the price back down. You can buy a hell of a lot more shares then, okay? But again, if you just put a trend line going all the way on up here, 1200 is probably going to be what your upside target is. Now, that being said, I just wanted to show you this. The reason I pointed this out is this negative divergence that we got going on in the RSI here. Okay, so what we have here, see, we have this high, okay, on the RSI, and we have a high. Then we have here, you look at this section, we have even a higher high but we have a lower high. Then we come over here, we have even a higher high, and we have a lower high. See this? Negative divergence. So it's going to be a matter of time before something's going to give, and this is going to sell off probably pretty hard right down to that 1,000 area, okay? So just got to be very, very patient. Now, again, if it keeps right on running, make sure that you use a stop on this because, again, it could come off here. But always pay attention to this negative divergence, okay, that's happening right now. And then we got your MACD. You're getting to way, way, way overbought scenario here. So just be a little bit patient. But people are putting their money into this versus the other market here because, you know, they got to put it somewhere. And this is nothing really is going to affect the old Netflix. Now, on the downside, just watch that key 8 SMA here. You can see how nicely it's been holding it all the way on up. But watch that key level, that 1,079 level. That's going to be very, very critical. If that's lost, you're going to come over to the top of this candle here. You're looking at 1,064. And then we can come down here to the top of this candle here. You're looking all the way down to 998. But I think you're probably around the 1,000 area. 1,025 area is probably where this would sell off here because by that time this 21 day is going to be rolling up and that should give it good support. Same way with that 50 day. But again, ride the wave until it's no longer, but use stops because if it sells off here, because you got this negative divergence going on here, when she sells, she's going to sell off pretty hard. Okay, let's take a look here at one of my favorite trades, TQQQ. Okay, here we have TQQQ. Now, this is one of my favorite. It pays a small dividend, but really this is not only just a great trader, but this is what the reason I like this, it has all the Mag 7 in there. Your NVIDIA and Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, Google, Tesla's got Costco in there. You know, it's really a really probably one of the best ETFs that I ever really come across is this TQQQs, okay? And the reason I like it about it, I say because it has everything in it, and usually all that technology that's basically which is in play. Okay, now I'm going to show you a perfect how I scalped this here today. Now TQQ got down as low as 50.32. I didn't get 50.32, but what I did was watching this 8-day right here. Okay, see this? Look how nice that held. So I put an order in there for 50.50 and I got it. Okay, so I didn't get the 50.32, but never worry about buying the bottom or selling that top. Okay, you want that meat in the middle. That's the key. Okay, but look how nice it came right on down and you held that nice 8 SMA here. Now, again, if that would have been lost, then we would look right to that 49.05. Okay, on that 21 estimate here, okay? Now, there is a gap in the fill, okay, down here, so you want to watch that bottom 47.63 level, and then we look to the top of this candle here at 45.98 gap in the fill. But right now, as long as we're holding that 8-day, that is just a beautiful scalp to take it all the way on up here, okay? So right now, you're sitting at 53.11. I'm in at 50.50. Okay, really, really nice trade going on here, okay? So now here on the upside, what I'm watching is going to be the top of this candle is this 55.17 level that was yesterday's high. And then we're going to look to the bottom right there. You're looking at that 56.09. There's your gap fill, okay? And then we're going to be looking right here towards this 60 mark. Now, if, you know, Microsoft and Meta have good numbers and then Apple and Amazon come out tomorrow, if they have good numbers, this could rip right to that 50-day very, very easy, okay? But what I do is I own it and I also trade it, kind of a situation, okay? So it's a really, really, if you want to trade something as a nice sweet basket of all the good stuff, TQQ is your man, okay? Just that simple. Now, you can see we got that oversold condition. You're only sitting at 49. You got plenty of room here to run. Your green is over your red, kind of a situation. Now, again, with these tariffs here, okay, he took the first 100 days, he instilled all the policies. Now, if he starts getting these countries coming back and say, hey, let's sign a deal, it'll be like a domino effect, and you will have a rip-your-face-off rally. I know the GDP was down. He said, oh, we got a possible recession, all the thing. Yeah, blah, 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 okay? Right now, I don't know where I am. The traffic is unbearable. I mean, the traffic is huge. Everyone's buying houses. You're building all over the place, so I don't know how big the big recession. It could be just mild, or it could just be a lot of noise, okay? So again, if he gets these tariffs here settled and he gets a deal going with this, just be careful because this will rip your face off rally. So if you're a short, just remember that. But trade the charts because look how nice this came right on down here. Now this is just an ETF, right down to that level at that held that key 8 SMA here, and now she's moving up higher, okay? So this is how you want to trade it. This is how you scalp for the day to make money. Now, again, if we can close back above this position right here, that 55.7, say it starts rolling up here, then I will add to the position and I will put it right on top of there. I went in kind of small here. I only got a couple thousand shares, okay? So That's how I went in at 2,000, and then I'm gonna see if I can rally this up here. Okay, so we can take it right up to that 50-day, and then we have to see what the what the reaction is if it gets there. Okay, that's going to be the key. But if you want a good all package deal, TQQ is the man. Okay, I'll be back here after the open close. We'll take a look here at Bitcoin, crude oil, natural gas, and remember, Meta, Microsoft after the bell today, and then Apple and Amazon tomorrow. I'll go over those later here today, so we have a nice, good, fresh look at it. Remember, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.